Studio.
We don't have a name for the studio, buddy.
B?
What were you going to go with?
I got there and I was waiting for I was like, what exit is this? And I didn't know the number. What studio is this
Just
called?
call it B.
It's just the first things first studio.
What about Breakfast Ball?
That's it.
54, is that
It's
true?
not Studio 54.
Oh gosh darn, I got tricked by Rick. Rick, just direct the show.
You tricked yourself. You're in a logical pretzel because so much of your true beliefs about basketball are just briefly contradicted by the Tatum game last night. You've been arguing with me about it.
23 points, pretty good to me.
You're
You're allowed to miss shots. That's the way it goes.
Then what is a good game?
It's a make or miss league.
Right, and so the night you miss, is that a good game? When you're
depends.
7 of 23.
Well, the way the ball bounces.
When a team that you said had no shot to beat them beats them, and you have a chance to win the game and you don't, you're gonna do a whole opining about the philosophy of the Celtics instead of being like, hey, my guy had a bad game.
He did, historically bad.
Okay.
Him?
Jason Tatum did?
Historically bad?
You guys.
5 minutes ago, you're yelling
It
at
was
Brew.
23 and 16 and 6.
Yeah.
Oh, you're right. He has good games.
See that?
That's a good point.
Can we do the hill?
Yeah, go. Time for King of the Hill.
All right. So listen, we know.
Bro, you just got here.
There we go. That's better. This still doesn't look right. I'm gonna fix it. There it is. Now it's nice and straight. All right. Everyone whose team got eliminated is off. So there's not going to be a lot of people who drop because a lot of guys moved up kind of by default by staying around. However, on the bottom row, there is one guy who dropped. It's not his fault, but it's Darius Garland. Yeah. You don't play, you're going to have to drop, and he might have to drop off. Evan Mobley makes the hill. Nembhard makes the hill. He played really well. He's a good player. Yeah. Alex Caruso was awesome. OG Anunoby was excellent. In a lot of ways, he was the best Knick for large portions of last night. Buddy Hield. 33 points in a game 7, 9 threes in a game 7.
Great.
And I got to tell you, it's not left to right. But if it were, Chet's at risk of falling off the hill. And by the way, you could break the hip if he does. He's got to be careful if he falls off the hill.
It's grassy.
But Chet, even grassy, there's not a lot of cushion there. And so, not a great game 1 for Chet. More on him later. All right, next row. Jimmy moves up a bit. I thought Jimmy did not look really quite like himself coming back from the injury, but then I thought he was pretty good in game 7, and obviously he needed every bit of it. Rudy Gobert was not on the hill. He had fallen off it. He is now rising after the best playoff game of his life. Listen, Jalen, keep in mind, we haven't done the hill since last Tuesday, so Jalen Williams obviously not good in game 1 of this series, but he was good at the very end of round 1. He stays where he is. Cat stays where he is. Julius Randle and Jaden McDaniels both move up. Now to row 5, top 15 guys. Jaylen Brown stays where he is. It feels fair. He was good-ish in round 1. He was not great last night. Draymond, I thought, was excellent in game 7.
His defense was phenomenal.
It was excellent in game 7, which is why he didn't drop, because his performances in games 5 and 6 were abysmal. He said as much, so he stays where he is. Pascal Siakam, one of the more underrated guys in the league, despite the fact that he's a champion. We've seen him on deep playoff runs. He moves up. Jamal Murray moves up, and Aaron Gordon with another playoff game winner. 43% from 3 this season after like 29% last year. He moves up. Steph takes a slight drop on the next row. We'll explain this when you see the rest of the hill. It's also, keep in mind, since the last hill, game 5, Steph didn't do much. Game 6, he didn't do much. Game 7, he was awesome in the second half, but he drops. It's more about the people above him and the way the hill played out than about Steph's performance, because he probably would have stayed about where he was. Tyrese Halliburton, however, does move up. Tyrese Halliburton being the best player on the court in game 1 against Cleveland, willing them to that victory, stealing home court. He moves up. Jason Tatum was awesome at the end of last series, averaging 36 after he came back from his injury. However, he was not good last night, unless, of course, we talk about shots he theoretically could have made, in which case he was very good. But I think in general he should stay where he is. Donovan, also similar situation. He was fine in game 1, probably took too many shots, maybe felt like he needed to. He stays where he is. Next row. Ant moves down. I'll explain that in a moment. Jalen Brunson moves up because the ultimate level of respect that I can give a guy is when Tatum missed that shot and they called timeout, 5 seconds left in regulation, I'm like, oh, the Knicks are going to win because Brunson's going to get to his spot and going to score. He did get to his spot. I was shocked he missed. They were able to win anyway. And SGA, I thought was really good yesterday. I thought SGA was the only Thunder that really fully held up his end of the bargain other than Caruso. The next row, however, and this is why Ant had to drop and Steph had to drop, is because the next row is vacant. Because the top row is, of course, Nikola Jokic. And after his 42, 22, and 6, along with some coaching, along with a clutch 3 after being 1 of 5 from 3 leading up to that moment, his defense on the inbounds pass, even though he had 5 fouls, all of it, it does feel like the gap right now between Jokic and everyone else left in the playoffs, particularly with Giannis out of the playoffs, Luka, who made the finals last year, out of the playoffs, is as big as we have seen. So we had to drop Steph and Ant a bit because there are no row 2 guys, because Jokic deserves a little breathing room. That brew is the latest edition of King of the Hill.
I do agree with Jokic at the top. I don't think there should be vacancies below him. He was obviously phenomenal yesterday, but he had a 4 for 13 shooting game against the Clippers, 13 points. Had a 6 for 14 game, 16 points. So he's been great. He can be at the top. But I don't think there should be a gap between him. I mean, Brunson has been arguably the best player in the playoffs, and Ant has played well, SGA. So I wouldn't have the gap. But my main move is I'm switching Jimmy Butler, playoff Jimmy, and Pascal Siakam. Siakam is a very good player. He is undoubtedly underrated. But over the last 3 games, he's averaged 13 points on 43% shooting. And so he's 2 for 9 from 3. So Halliburton has been their guy carrying them. And Jimmy, what do you have, 27? He had 27, I think, in game 6, 20 in game 7 with the 8 rebounds, 7 assists. And again, his value, even though those are great numbers in game 6 and 7, it's not just the numbers. Like, you talk about a guy with the defense, his toughness for a team that is a finesse team outside of Draymond Green. He now brings them a level of toughness. They're undersized. That toughness matters because they're so short. And he gives them belief. Like, obviously it's Steph's team and Draymond is kind of that inspirational leader. But Jimmy Butler has given them belief that they can win. So and playing through the injury, the bruised glute, like, I'm moving Butler and switching him with Siakam.
So I give him credit for playing through the injury. It doesn't feel like, though, he's been the same guy since the injury. And what we haven't seen.
He hit some big threes in game 7.
Listen, he
and
did
game 6.
Game 6, I don't think he did. Because game 6 they waved the white flag. But the game 7.
No, that was game 5. They waved the white flag.
You're right. You're right. Game 5 they waved the white flag. Game 6. Yeah, sorry, I was confused on the order. Here's the other piece of it. He hasn't, the level he hit in game 82 in the play-in game, he hasn't hit that yet in these playoffs, where it did look like playoff Jimmy full-fledged. The numbers for round 1 can be a little misleading because he had to leave the one game early. So that's why he averaged 18 a game. But since he came back from the injury, it's 20 a game on only, I think, 44% from the field. And the efficiency number is what kind of surprises you, because that was kind of a hallmark. Like you said, even if he didn't have huge stats, he would be like 7 of 9 and 10 of 12 from the free throw line. So I understand it. I just don't know. I give him credit for playing through the injury. I just don't know if he can be as effective as he was pre-injury, post-injury.
Thought exercise. I like where Aaron Gordon is on the hill. If there was a separate hill for the main guy, it's kind of like the first few rows. And then the hill for the second guy is kind of the second row. Aaron Gordon is the king of the hill of the third options. Do you buy that? But I like him where he's at right now. But he's out of all the third options.
He's the highest rated third option.
Exactly. So I'm happy with where he's at. And here's the second buzzer beater. It wasn't buzzer beater, within 5 seconds last night. Of course, game 4, he had the dunk to win the game against the Clippers. So here's a video of that. Aaron Gordon wins the game. Last night, wins the game. Multiple game-winning field goals in the single postseason. Aaron Gordon's on the list. Jamal Murray, that was both against the Lakers, right? LeBron, 2018 LeBron, and then Robert Horry. So we're already here, and we're early in the playoffs. So he might get another one before we're all said and done, but he's entering that Robert Horry character, or Robert Horry.
I understand.
No, that's good.
Yeah.
And honestly, as great, Horry is a historic clutch shooter, but I think Gordon is doing more.
Oh, Gordon's a better overall player, for sure, and more key to what they're doing.
Even scoring more.
And then you mentioned this, like, oh, Robert Horry, my goodness. Aaron Gordon, he won the slam dunk contest. Like, yes.
I didn't mention that.
He did win the slam dunk contest. Did you know that?
I don't think he won it.
Yes,
he got robbed.
He won one, I think.
I thought he got
won one and got robbed the one, perhaps.
All right, go ahead.
But he's gotten much better as a three-point shooter.
Yes.
Started off under 30% a few years ago. Now he's up to 42%.
That jump is crazy, and it's also a free throw percentage jump.
Yeah.
It's also what we want to see from guys. It's the path that we want to see from guys like Şengün, or like, they got to learn to shoot. Just learn to shoot.
Amin Thompson is a guy I will go with.
But a lot of times it just doesn't happen.
You have the time. As an NBA player, Jason Kidd's an example. Yeah. You have the time to improve your shot.
Do you think, can I ask it's just a kind of more esoteric question. Do you think for some guys, though, it's not about how much they're putting in the hours, they're trying, they just can't? Because I can't imagine that all the guys who can't shoot are just like, I'm not practicing it. I just, you know what I mean? Like that some guys, they're not going to be able to get the form or the mechanic right no matter how hard they try.
But when I hear you, everybody can't be a great shooter. Some guys, it might be nerves during the game. But when Jason Kidd was a horrible shooter early in his career, and he became a very good three-point shooter.
No, I get that, but
and Gordon too. Like, when guys can improve, LeBron wasn't a great shooter, and he's become a very good three-point shooter.
I just feel like it's hard for, I'll use this as an example. It's hard for me to believe Giannis hasn't tried everything. Like, do we think Giannis isn't working at it in the offseason? I think Giannis is as hard a worker as anybody in the league, and for some reason, he just can't get it. Like, do we think Aaron Gordon, here's my question about Gordon. Gordon's been in the league 11 years. We think that this offseason, he just worked way harder, or just something for some reason changed?
That's a great question.
I don't know.
And again,
I'm not saying everybody can be a great three-point shooter, but you can improve.
I wonder if you have to, like, Tiger Woods your swing.
Like break it all down entirely. Well, Blake Griffin, just again, this is more podcasting, but I'll just real quick.
Podcasts are all the rage.
Yeah, you're right. Way early iterations of First Things First, when we were on in the mornings, we had Blake Griffin in studio, and he had remade himself to where he could shoot. And he said, so I think you might have stumbled upon it, because when you said it, I remembered it, that when he was changing his shot, he would practice alone and not let, literally in a gym by himself, because it was so embarrassing for him. Like
misses,
like how bad it looked in the misses, because he was so uncomfortable with his new form, and that's how he built it up. So maybe that's what maybe it is that you have.
Michael Redd broke his shot down. He wasn't a great shooter coming into the league, and became one of the best.
Can I just ask one other thing before we move on?
Yeah.
So you say he's the best third option, right?
Yeah, I think
that's what you said. So would he start for the Celtics?
He's shooting 42% from three. We certainly like to shoot.
No, I
think he'd start over Horford at this.
Well, Horford doesn't start.
Career.
But Horford's their bench guy. So I'm just asking because
I really like Aaron Gordon. I got one more graphic.
Oh,
if you want to believe in Denver. Without Aaron Gordon, they're a fine team. With Aaron Gordon, they're the fourth best team.
Do you believe in Denver?
You picking
kind of like an old flame, you know?
You got OKC.
Like no, but then every once in a while,
Here's the problem for Wildes, because he wants to believe in Denver.
I want to, but
He
I
wants
don't.
Denver.
But Denver won't shoot threes and isn't very good on defense.
Yeah, so
And
no.
his belief is the Celtics are. The reason I asked the Aaron Gordon question is because famously you said nobody's third option would even start for the Celtics.
Yeah.
And so that the Celtics
and OKC
are.
had a better record.
This-
That's bottom line. You got to go with OKC.
No, I just don't. If Denver wouldn't beat the Celtics.
But you thought last year they would. That was your whole thing.
Yeah.
That was your whole thing. Was that no one
No,
could
I don't
beat
believe.
Denver?
I don't believe in Denver.
Okay.
I don't believe.
Because they don't shoot enough threes and they don't play
shoot.
defense.
Yeah, you don't shoot threes. You don't play defense. You have a brand new coach. You are going to have a hard ceiling.
Okay.
Now, the Warriors, on the other hand, shooting threes, playing defense.
Doing both.
Another Warriors Celtics finals, maybe.
That'd be interesting.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.